Hello YouTube friends, this is Fossilsaurus. I'm bringing you something which I have introduced something similar before. Let me just get right to it. It is, in case you can't tell, it is a Eurypterid sea scorpion. For a minute, let me just try and get it up close so you can get better views of it. Right here in the front, of course, we have the head. You can see both of the eyes there. You can see it's one set of legs out. These are the swimming paddles. Probably some of the antenna or chelicerae are definitely missing. All of the swimming legs are either missing or underneath, which is a somewhat common thing. And the telson, which is the tail, oddly enough, is going downwards towards what is underneath. So this was cut off at some point, and at this point and below, the telson must have been sticking down there. So this cut off the telson, which is the tail. It's very strange because this is on such a three-dimensional rock. Usually you see flat imprints or flattened specimens, but on just a single plane. This is not a single plane, which makes it very unusual and very impressive and kind of confusing, because during fossilization things are usually flattened down, just completely flat. So even if an animal had its tail sticking further down into the sand than it or something, the process of fossilization, of smushing it together, would just paste everything basically onto just one solid plane, and it would just be an imprint. And that's how fossilization works in most cases, which always throws me for a rope when you see some fossils that are in life, they're in the position of life or of death, and they are on different levels. Like a single one is reaching through different levels of the sediment, because I mean, with most fossils, things get crushed down to that, and to where if you look at a cross section, you could say like, oh, a centimeter equals 3 million years or something like that. And obviously one animal dying at 1 second would be less than paper thin, but this one animal somehow is taking up inches or even feet cross section wise. So it looks like it's reaching through like 1 billion years of history or something like that. I've never fully understood that. I know it has to do with the type of sediment and the type of fossilization, but it always just seems like it reaches too much of an extreme for my understanding. Like things shouldn't generally be able to continue being in their perfectly life-like state. They should have, to some degree, been flattened or something. I mean, A+. I'm so glad that's not the case. I mean, it's fantastic that we get things in full life model, but it's a little confusing to me. But I like it. Like I said, it's very cool. There are some negatives, like in this case I lost the tail because of it, or it lost its tail because of it, or because the person who cut it off didn't get it. Now, in order for them to have included it, they may have had to like include this much of a chunk and then just chipped around it and ended up with nothing but like a spike sticking down here, the telson sticking down like that, which would have been almost impossible to do. So I could never blame anybody for just being like, you know what, we got most of it, that's it. So now I'm not going to go over a huge amount of the Eurypterid situation since I did before, but these guys were first they're first known to be in the Ordovician 467.5 million years ago, but they're likely from before that. They're very likely from the Cambrian. You know, the Cambrian explosion where everything starts. Very cool. The Silurian was kind of their heyday. The genus Eurypterus, which Eurypterids fall within, of course, was 90% of all sea scorpions, which is pretty crazy. That's a huge amount of them. Now they got cut way back at the late Devonian extinction event, but they made it through. But sadly, the Great Dying, the Permian Triassic extinction, the major one, that wiped them out, unfortunately, and so we don't have them anymore. Now what you'll see a lot of times, fossilized ones are going to be of one of a couple kinds. The most common kinds are Eurypterus, remipes, and Eurypterus lacustis. Lacustis, I think is how it's pronounced, and that's what this one is. But of course, there's plenty of sea scorpions that were not in the Eurypterid group. There's some of the largest ones: Pterygotus, Eurypterus, Megalograptus, Megarachne. There's so many different families outside of just Eurypterus, even though Eurypterus is the vast 90% majority. So that should give you some idea. And these guys were so widespread. When they started, it was mostly marine, but by the end, and not even just by the end, but just after a while, they'd be in multi-saline environments. They could be brackish, some would be in actual freshwater. So they were pretty much everywhere. These guys, really fascinating and really successful. It's not too surprising they didn't make it through the Great Dying. So many things didn't. But I guess of all things that didn't make it, it would be a little bit more surprising that these guys would be one that didn't, because of how successful they were as an entire group. You'd think maybe one made it through or something, but nah, sadly not. But I'm not going to drag this on too long, because like I said, I have a previous Eurypterus sea scorpion, which, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a very cool one. It's a mortality plate that has 3 or 4 dead ones on it. And what's very cool about them is it has the entire flattened forms. They're not just stuck as part of the background, as it were. They are actually lifted off the matrix, which I didn't actually realize until I was doing the video. But it's something that I had never even heard of happening. So aside from the fact that I would like you to check it out anyway, go ahead and check that out and see what I mean. Also, that'll give you some more information on sea scorpions in general. So thank you very much for taking a close look. As I'm saying goodbye, I'll just kind of try and give you guys a little bit closer examination of these guys, of this guy. So if you liked the video or liked my videos, please give me a like. It really means a lot. It really helps out a lot. Some subscriptions would be fantastic. Any comments are greatly welcome. Feel free. I'm at a point right now where I would like to continue doing these as regular as I have been, which is generally about once a day, or maybe skipping a day here and there. But things are coming up, and I just may not have it in me to be doing one a day anymore for a while. I may there may be some days, a few days, a week or something here and there, maybe a little more now and then, where I don't get around to doing anything. So I apologize. Definitely don't take that as me being done and not doing anything anymore, because I promise you I will be back. I have lots left to show you guys, both just as part of my collection and unopened boxes. So yeah, I hope to see you guys in my next video, and I hope it is soon. Thanks a lot.